What is up, fam? I'm Dr. Dale.
I'm Derek Phillips.
Back for week number 2 of Rise Up Podcast. Rise Up.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, so last week was the kickoff, and like we said last week, Derek and I were like, hey, we're gonna do this podcast, talk about how to be more productive and success, and just all about the grind. So we did the first one last week, and I think I got some pretty good feedback. I don't know what you heard, but
yeah, got some good feedback. People directly inboxing me, and a lot of views. So it's just a good jump off, good first show.
Like I haven't looked at it yet, but I know I got a message from somebody who knows you. Actually, I haven't read the message that came in today, but I just saw the beginning of it says something about I love what you and Derek's doing, and rise up and such and such. So I think people like it. Hey, so if you like it, we like it. We're good. We'll keep it coming. We'll keep it going. I'm excited, and we're just gonna make some. We're going to try to be consistent. We're going to put out some good quality content and really try to give you guys some high quality stuff that's meaningful, not just up here, blah, 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 but
value.
Some value, exactly. Add value to your lives. So before we hop into the topic for today, let's just kind of catch up. So Derek and I, we chat, but we're purposely trying to save these days for our chat days also now. So you guys can actually see into our conversations in our real life. So what you been up to, man?
This past week, I'm trying to do so much. I be losing track.
I saw a picture of you ran a marathon, though.
No, yeah. So I ran a marathon, a Fort Worth Cowtown marathon, my first one back in February. I had just randomly set the goals, one of my New Year's resolutions. My wife was still pregnant. I was like, hey, being a parent is going to be like a marathon. I know it's going to be a long journey. So let me prove to myself that I had a mental and physical strength to go the distance. I was like, okay, I want that to be my first gift to my daughter. Legacy is to give her that marathon medal. So I accomplished that in February, and now, in just the spirit of what you're talking about, giving people value, inspiring people, I'm like, okay, I need another big why to do something else, even challenge myself even more. And I'm deciding to do the Dallas BMW Marathon. It's actually the Ultra Marathon.
Man, now you over
so 31.1 miles.
You got yourself a little marathon addiction, man.
Yeah, it is addictive after a while, but yes, I'm gonna do the Ultra Marathon.
31 miles. So regular marathon is what, 23?
26.2.
26.2. Okay. You're doing 31. So what you gonna do next? Like a super duper califragilistic marathon?
After that, I might do Iron. Well, I'm starting a half Ironman.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's good. I love what you said about the physical, because if the physical can do it, in order for the physical to do it, the mental has to be already there. The mental's got to be there. The physical can't even attempt to do it, really.
Definitely.
So I love that.
And that's the post you saw. I said at the 20-mile mark, I hit that wall where I had nothing left physically. I was all out of energy. Body was hurting. I'd never been in so much pain and so exhausted. But those last 6.2 miles, it was all mental. It was all hard. I had to focus on, okay, what's my big why? Why am I doing this? Who's it going to impact? Who's it going to inspire? So giving up was an option.
I love it. You know what I do sometimes, like when I'm working out? So let's say if I'm, just hitting the bench. Mm-hmm. If I'm hitting it, and the easier example would be push-ups. So if I'm doing push-ups, if I'm trying to get to 100 push-ups straight or something, so I'll be cranking out the push-ups. And then when I start to get tired, I go back to 0 in my mind. So I might be at 50, but instead of saying 51, 52, 52, I say 1, 2, 3. And then I start doing the sets of 10. I hit 10. I say, okay, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3. I do it 5 times. It makes it a lot easier. It's a lot easier for me to be like, oh, I can get to 10 as opposed to like, oh, I'm going for 100,
Right. I like that, because if you're at 60, like, okay, well, I already did 60, so that's good enough. Versus 2, 3, 4. Yeah. That's a good tip. It really is.
It works, man. For whatever reasons, that mental thing, like you said, the mental has to be there first. So it like just gets my mind ready. Like, oh yeah, you can do 10. Anybody can do 10 more. Anybody can do 10 more, and then next thing you know, you've knocked out 100. Like it's nothing, man.
It's a guy I like a lot. It's called, his name's David Goggins. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. He talks a lot about just motivation, and he does all kind of ultra marathons, all that type of stuff. He talks about after he accomplished something, he always tells himself, it's day 1, week 1. You always restart and reset, and always start from 0 versus saying, like, I already accomplished this, so I'm good. I can be comfortable and coast. Nah, day 1, week 1.
I love it. It's like my So I coach my kids' basketball team, and my co-coach, assistant coach, her name is Cammie Richards. She's her husband and I are good friends. My wife and her are good friends. Okay. And she played college ball. She actually went to, man, Cammie, if you see this, forgive me, I can't remember. I don't know if it was Sweet 16 or Final Four.
She got skills, though.
She got skills. So she has skills, and she had a great coach. So every halftime, no matter how much we're winning, she always tells our team, "Hey, score 0-0." That's that whole idea. Doesn't matter what first half or back at the beginning. The score is 0-0 right now.
Like that.
I think she got it from her coach. Oh, just so you guys know, we are going to be talking about mental clarity. That's the topic today. I forgot to say that at the start, mental clarity. But I'll tell you, so my week last week was really cool. I messaged you and told you that I had gone to Missouri, and it was great, man. So for any listener who doesn't know, I went to undergrad at University of Missouri. I went to med school at University of Missouri. I met my wife at the University of Missouri, So
some strong ties there.
Very strong ties, man. I mean, that was my adulthood, right? The first 8 years of my adulthood were all at the University of Missouri. And so strong ties, Mizzou, University of Missouri, Mizzou's the nickname. So in Mizzou, we always say Mizzou made. That's kind of the thing. Like
Mizzou made.
Yeah. So I'm Mizzou made. I really am.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. A guy by the name of Drew up there in Columbia, he brought me back in partnership with MU, the hospital system healthcare. And he brought me up there to speak for alumni weekend and it was also homecoming weekend. So it was great. I mean, I go speak a lot, right? So I get invited. I go speak across the country. But this was just so special, just that the welcoming, the warmth. It was so amazing. I hadn't quite experienced anything like it.
Your peoples.
My peoples, yeah, man. My people. And, just seeing faces and such, man, it was so good, man. It was so good to see those people. But I went out there, I spoke. I talked about diversity in healthcare and medicine and how we can achieve that. It was a great talk, and, I got such excellent feedback, and I just had a good time in Missouri. So that part was all cool. Now, the really cool part about it for me, cool and challenging, is now that my kid turned 8 years, my oldest boy is 8 years old.
Okay.
So I take him with me sometimes now when I travel. So, he went to D.C. Last time I spoke at D.C., he went to Mizzou with me just last week. So it was really cool taking him up there, and he gets a chance to see what daddy does and learn how to start networking, start doing business, things of that sort.
It's priceless.
It's priceless,
really
man.
Priceless.
It's crazy. And then it's homecoming weekend. So I went to my very first ever football game for college or high school. I mean, college or NFL. I've never been to an NFL game still. But I spent 8 years in Columbia, Missouri, and this was my very first football game ever. It was a good moment to be able to spend it with my kid. The bad part about it is my 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old now, he understands, right? So he wants to travel. He wants to come with me, but I can't take him because he can't sit through lectures and stuff yet, Again, I'm like, Daddy, He's not ready for that. So it was bittersweet. It was good. I had a great time with Tony, but of course, it's always sad to be away from the rest of your family.
Right.
But that was my week, last few days, and that was just amazing, awesome for me. So shout out to Mizzou, anybody from Mizzou. If you guys are watching, listening, thank you. I love you guys, man. Thanks for showing me a great time. It was good to be home. Good to be home.
Nice.
So I guess we should hop into what we want to talk about for this week, which is this idea of mental clarity. So, not today, we're recording this on a Monday, but last Monday, I put out the Maximize Monday about journaling and how important it is to journal and why people should journal. And a lot of great stuff comes from journaling, but end of the day, it's about this idea of mental clarity, really. It's about, hey, how do I make my mind as clear as possible? Like we're talking about with the exercise, and how do you shape, form, frame, whatever you want to say, your mindset, so your body, your spirit, so everything else can flow, right?
Right.
So that's where we're at. So mental clarity, man. And what you got on that?
So for me, about a year ago, I started, like in the first thing in the morning, I started reading the Bible and meditating. Yeah. And I kind of viewed the meditation as a way to kind of reset everything that's just kind of flush your mind, reset, start the day fresh, start with scripture, quotes, anything inspirational, motivational type stuff. That's kind of one way I like to start my day, that meditation. Also, I journal more so informally. I have a Note 8, so that's the one with the little pen, the Samsung. Yeah. So anytime I get
I got right here, actually, sitting on my table.
Hey, great mind.
Samsung, man, y'all gonna pay us for this.
I like
Boom.
those, right? I like those.
Cut that check, Samsung.
Anytime I get an idea in my head, I open up my notes and just write it down. And yeah, I'm a prolific note taker. That's kind of my version of just journaling, but I'm definitely gonna start doing more formal journaling. Like I see you had your own little book that you journal. I like that idea as well.
Yeah, and it's not like I do it like every day all the time. Matter of fact, now it's kind of like sparse. I do a lot of, like you do, I do a lot of writing in general, but I'm specifically real journaling. it's not like I'm doing it all the time, but it's this idea to, man, just getting stuff out of your mind and onto paper really provides so much clarity. It really, like one of my mentors, John, he's always telling me, you know, John,
John.
Yeah, he's always telling me, he's like, anything I want to do, I'm like, hey, John, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. You know, else comes back to, hey, Dale, write it down, make a plan. I'm like, John, I want to do this. Hey, Dale, where's your plan?
Right.
John, I want to do this. Where's your plan? You know, John, I want to tie my shoe. Hey, where's the plan for the shoelace tie? You know,
I like that.
But it took me a while, and he'll probably tell you, he was probably getting mad in his head at me for not making plans, but now actually write them down. But it took me a while to really kind of figure out the importance of taking it out of your mind and putting it on paper.
Makes it real once you write it down. And I like what you said, like it's like a contract with yourself.
Yeah.
Like every day you write down what you say at night, you write it down. What you have to do the next day, you make that contract with yourself versus keeping it in your head. You can just say, I forgot about it, or just not as important.
Yeah.
I like that as well. And that plan is important. I was talking to my nephew. He's 18. He's graduated high school. He's experiencing what adulthood is like. He's working at McDonald's and like, how do you like it? Man, I hate it. I hate the people I'm working with. Okay, I understand, just a temporary stepping stone. But if you desire something more, what's your plan? Like, this is one thing to say, I hate where I'm at. But if you have no plan to get out of that situation, it's just a pipe dream.
That's all it is, man. Speaking about fast food, we went to. I'm not endorsing bad eating here, but that's what it was. It's what it is. So we went to Taco Bell last night. And we tried to go in the door, and the door was locked. It was like 7, 8 o'clock, and it's not supposed to close until 11 o'clock, right? So we're like, why's the door locked? Yeah. So why's the door locked? And there's a guy in the back. You see the guy in the back just like hustling, trying to work as fast as he can. So then we had to debate: do we really want to stay here in the drive-thru or go get something else? My wife was like, I want Taco Bell.
Okay.
So we stayed there. We went to the drive-thru. We get up to the front. Man, there's one guy in there doing everything by himself. Ouch. Right, everything by himself, and there's a long line, right? And he's still in there just busting his butt, like just grinding, hustling, running back and forth, flipping everything as quick as he can. And I told my wife, I was like, man, kudos to that guy. Like just think about it. Most people, or a lot of people, probably would have said, man, I'm here by myself. I don't get off till 11 o'clock anyways. There's no point working fast. Right. If I slow down, then people are gonna leave the line, and it's less work for me.
Right.
But this guy's in there like sweating, just grinding, busting his. I guess what happened, I think somebody like didn't come show up for the
called off.
Yeah.
Texas OU weekend, eh? Everybody called it off.
It's Texas football, man. You gotta be ready for that. But I just thought I had so much respect for that guy after seeing him do that. Just thinking like, man, people like that, people who are willing to work hard to that level and really they don't have to. When it's not his fault, he's there by himself. He showed up. Somebody else ain't showed up.
Making the most of it.
Making the most of it, man. Is that mindset. I wish if everybody could have that mindset about I'm going to make the most of why I'm here, what I've got to work with. And I'm going to, the biggest point in all that was he understood his role there was to serve. And we're all here to serve, period. Right. So he understood his role was to serve, and he did it to the best of his ability, man. Best of his ability.
What I like about that is how whenever you think positive and you have that mentality to serve, you just see inspiration everywhere. So a lot of people just overlook that, or would have been more so angry, like, why is it taking so long? But you look at it as, that's kudos to that guy. That's inspiring because that's just how your mind is fixed. You're looking for positivity or just finding that golden nuggets in something that other people may overlook or take for granted. I like that.
Definitely. And the cool thing about having that mindset is it passes on to your kids. So when we were in Columbia, we were living the football game. It was cold, man. It was cold out there. So we left at halftime. And there was a guy. It's funny. I'm just not realizing this. My son and I were saying he was dressed like a cat, but it wasn't a cat. He was just like a tiger, a Mizzou tiger,
big cat,
a big cat. Yeah. So he had like his face painted and it was looked like a Bengal.
Okay.
He was out there playing the flute and had his speakers and stuff, type of stuff you'll see in New York, right? And he's doing that. So we give him a little bit of money. And then my son's like, yeah, Dad, we give him money because he deserved it. He was working hard. And everybody else just passing him up, So it was really cool for me to see my son like appreciate what the guy was doing and say, man, he's working hard. Like he should be rewarded for his hard work. It's good.
That's important. Parents, kids are modeling what you do, and that mindset it passes down. So,
I mean, that's
positivity.
Key. The mindset. I like how you said that. The mindset passes down. Passes down. Hopping back to this mental clarity idea and writing things down. for me, one of the times where I realized the importance of writing things down, because, I'm a doctor. Mm-hmm. So when we go see a patient, we'll come up with a plan. Okay, I go see his patient, Mr. Smith. Here's what I want to do with Mr. Smith. I ordered all these tests. I did all this stuff. And I put it on my orders in the computer. Mm-hmm. But then I'll say, okay, I need to write my note now. So I sit down and write my note. And a lot of times it's not until I'm really sitting down and writing my note where the best ideas come, I'm like, oh my goodness, Mr. Smith's diagnosis is actually this. And we got to do this. I got to order this instead of that.
Wow.
But when you sit down and you get a chance to actually start writing and you could equate that to journaling, but I'm talking about writing a note in the hospital. That's when you get the clarity. That's when things start coming together. That's when you can see the forest through the trees or whatever. You see the bigger picture.
Right.
And that's why I'm so big on this idea of writing, because man, I don't know, maybe I'm not the guy. Maybe it's just me. I don't know about you, but my decisions, my thought process, everything is much better after it's written down than before I write it down.
Yeah, I agree. Gives you that framework, the structure, and like you say, you can really focus in on those details versus just those abstract thoughts of you keeping it in your head. And for me, I have ADHD, so I'll get a great idea. If I don't write it down, it's gone. So I'm really adamant about writing it down. Because it'll be something, I'll get an idea and I'll write it down. I may not come back to it 3, 4, 5 months later, but it's there. Like, okay, I remember, okay, I had that somewhere written down. I had this idea on such and such date. Go back to my phone. There it goes. And then take action on it.
The key thing about what you just said also is, even sometimes you might not even know where you wrote it down, but still the fact that you wrote it down somewhere does something in your brain.
Like indexes, like, okay.
That's the word.
Yeah, indexes in some kind of way, but it works.
And when it's time to be recalled, somehow your body recalls it because you've written it down. Now, let me ask you, why is it that, because I'm fairly confident most people don't do this, don't journal, don't write stuff down. Why do you think that is, that people wouldn't do that?
I'd say probably for a couple of reasons. I'll say one reason is people maybe have overconfidence in their ability to remember things. Yeah, like my wife's like that. She has that ego. I don't need to write it down. I'm going to remember it.
Don't get me in trouble with your wife, man. I have nothing to do with that statement.
She has pretty good memory, but sometimes she forgets stuff. But I think that sometimes it can be that. Another reason just be laziness, or another reason just be they don't want to make that commitment by writing it down. Because if they write it down, then like, okay, they're committed. Like it's a contract. So I think that's another reason with goal setting why people really don't write goals down, because it's easy if it's just in your head to, I'm not, put it off. But if you make that commitment, write it down, especially write it down, then share it with other people. Now you kind of, you all in. There's no turning back.
Lockdown, man. You made that contract. You signed that X.
Definitely. Why do you think people don't write it down?
I don't, I agree with everything you're saying, but I don't think most people know that they should write it down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, and that's why it's great that I think we're doing this Rise Up stuff. Because what's going to happen with this Rise Up is we're going to start dropping gems and knowledge, a lot of things that people don't even know they should be doing.
Right.
A lot of stuff for success that just most people don't know. And you wouldn't know a lot of this stuff if first of all, if you hadn't tried to do crazy things and failed at it, right? Because that's how you learn.
That's key.
Right. So a lot of people are too scared to even try to do the crazy things. And the second way is if you don't read this stuff. Like I think we talked about it a little bit last week about this whole idea of self-help and trying to get better. And a lot of people just kind of, self-help, what is that?
Right.
Well, if you're not reading self-help books, that's on you,
And really what self-help does is model success. So people, it's hundreds of years of people that proven success, and there's commonalities amongst it. So self-help, we just reading what other people did to become successful. Looking down on it, it's like, okay, what's the alternative?
I'm gonna figure it out myself.
Wing it. I don't need to recreate the wheel. What did this other person do to become successful?
Yeah, man, you can wing it all you want. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna go read that book by that guy who got $1 billion worth of sales. I'm gonna say, how did you do it? How did you do it?
Somebody told me that's the best return on investment, because you'll get that guy that made $1 billion, and he writes a book. He takes all his life experiences, all those golden nuggets, put it in a book. Maybe $20 charge you. You can't beat that.
End, $20 high end.
So it's basically giving it away. Why not take advantage of that? Pick that person's brain. That's how I view it. Great return on investment. Read, self-help. They learn from other success.
I'm with you on that, and I definitely, I do think that's what it is. I think people just don't know, and the reason people don't know is because they're not reading, and they're not taking enough risk. But the question comes, how many of the people watching this and listening to this, how many of them are actually going to start journaling? So if you're watching this, listening to this, and you got this far in, send us a message, man. Let us know if you're actually journaling, if you're going to journal.
Definitely.
Because I really want to know, when people know the quote-unquote secrets, the things that can make you successful, do they do it?
Right.
I know I do it. I know you do it, right? Yeah. But then I see a lot of people don't do it. I'm thinking, wait, do they not do it because they don't know about it? Or because you're too lazy, or because you're choosing not to do it?
Right. It comes down to, too, as far as risk. So they're not willing to take that risk, that calculated risk, and maybe fail. That's part of the process.
You
can't avoid it.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, I'll be interested to see. So anyways, so that's why we're doing this episode now, to tell you guys about this whole idea of mental clarity. And I'd be willing to bet that almost everybody who's done something big in life, without it being a fluke, has had mental clarity about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because especially now, we live in a day and age where there's so many distractions. Social media, you put on Facebook, and it's just a billion things are filling up your Facebook timeline. Twitter, social LinkedIn, whatever social media platform you're at. It's like people sending you text messages. You got to go to work. TV, you have too many channels to watch.
So much white noise. You just flooded with it, right?
How do you get that clarity from all that white noise? And it's hard. So like you said, meditating, writing things down, even if you don't write it down, you have to have some sort of mechanism that works for you to break through that white noise and be able to, in my head, I see one of those like blur images where there's like one thing focused in the center, everything else around it is blurred. You have to find a way to blur everything else out,
right,
and focus on that one main idea for you, and that's what gives you that clarity.
Yeah, totally agree. Kind of like when you take a picture on your phone, you have that live focus setting. That just focus on that key, like that one person. Everything has to blur it out. You have to do it.
It reminded me of my wife. My wife is all about phones and live focusing and super slow mo, and she does all those tricks.
Mastered it in photography.
She's a master.
Awesome.
Yeah, she does all that phone camera trick stuff. I can't get with it yet, but she's good at it, and it looks good. So, but so I guess really when we're talking about mental clarity, it's just this idea of focus. I guess in a sense it's the same thing. Clarity is the same thing as being able to focus.
Somebody say in the Army, laser focus. Just think about a laser on a rifle. It's pinpoint focus. It's going to help you in terms of achieving whatever goal you set. That is what your bullseye is. Because if you don't have that, then you're all over the place. All over the place.
You're shooting off the target and stuff. I mean, that's key, because it goes back to that thing again, and we might have talked about this before, but, and there'll be recurrent themes on this podcast. But that book by Keller,
Gary Keller, The One Thing.
The One Thing, yeah. This whole idea about what is that one thing that you're supposed to be focused on. What is your one main idea? And what's this guy's name? Evan Carmichael,
Okay.
I don't know if you watch Evan Carmichael on YouTube. He's got some really good stuff also.
I know the name.
Yeah, he does. He does this thing. I think it's called The One Thing, and he has all these top 10 rules.
Yeah, to success or something. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, all that stuff.
He's really good.
And he talks about what is your one word, what is your one thing. So he's always focused on this
Believe
idea.
Is his.
Believe is his, exactly. Like, what is that one thing? And that one thing is how you get mental clarity. You're not at a position of mental clarity until you know what is the one most important thing you need to be doing right now. That's mental clarity.
Right.
So when we're talking about mental clarity and journaling, the purpose of all that is to figure out what is the one thing that needs to be spending my life on, my minute on, my day on. That's clarity, because you can't do two things at once.
Right.
Like, you think you're like, oh yeah, I'm multitasking. You're not multitasking.
Not effectively.
I don't know if you've been doing it. Well, you might be doing it a lot, but really they say, people think you're multitasking, but just going back and forth really, really quick.
And that's what computers do. Computers don't multitask. Those processors are just stop, start. They're doing it so quickly, though, you don't notice the lag, but the human brain can't do that nowhere near as effectively. And that's what in The One Thing he talks about, the brain science behind it in terms of you're not an effective multitasker. You focus on one thing for that time period, and you're going to do it. You're going to be able to maximize the effectiveness.
And that's what gives you that clarity, man. And I guess we should also talk about, so when we say clarity, besides that focus, what else are we talking about? This idea of clarity is having a well-defined focus. So okay, I'm focused on making a great Rise Up episode today, right? Whatever. I should tell you that Darius and I don't play in these. We just show up, sit down, put the camera on, start
make
talking.
It happen.
So now as if we're like focused on it because we want it to be authentic and just whatever we say, we want this to be natural, right? If you guys want more focus of, we have programs for that. But so when you talk about clarity, it's a defined focus. So you might say, okay, I'm focused on making a great Rise Up podcast, but then the clarity comes with how do you define a great Rise Up episode? Like, what is the definition of that? So clarity is, okay, what is my true understanding of what my focus is? Am I making sense? That's following. I want to make sure I'm not losing people who are listening.
It makes sense, and for me, it kind of ties into it's kind of popular with people like around New Year's. They'll say, "Okay, what's your word for the year?" And for me, for 2019, mine was empowerment. So how I was able to focus, okay, anything I take action on or commit myself to, I have to ask the question: is it going to empower people? Mm-hmm. So that kind of helped me focus on, okay, what's applicable to empowerment and what's not. So anything that's outside of that sphere of empowering others, then it's not worth me doing. But if it is, I'm gonna make it happen no matter what. So that's one way to focus as well, where you have an overarching theme for the year, and if it falls within that sphere, then you're staying on track.
Yeah, I love that. Because that keeps you in your lane. Also, this idea of people trying to do things that aren't really in their lane.
Exactly.
But if hey, my deal is empowerment. I'm here to empower people. So if it's within empowerment, that is my lane. That's what I do.
Right.
If it's not, then I'm not messing with it. It's just not what I'm called to do.
So that clarity.
So it comes down to this clarity. So I'm thinking about chaos, and it's unfortunate to say this, but when I'm thinking about chaos, the picture that's coming in my mind is the United States of America. Very unfortunate to say that, but that's what it is.
It's what it is.
Yeah. And think like, why are certain things in chaos? And I dare say, well, two reasons. Number one, competition, right? So competition is just part of life. People are going to compete, whatever. And
so limited resources, people are going to compete more.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm not sure I believe in this. I'm not sure I believe in limited resources, man. I think I believe in abundance. So I think there's...
I agree from that standpoint. But when it comes to competition, I guess in the context, I mean, like, first place is to be number one.
Oh, yeah.
You're competing for that. So there's only one number one spot.
That's true.
Kind of in that context. But I certainly believe in abundance. It's the law of abundance. Yeah.
But so we should touch on this abundance idea, this competition, because one of my favorite things, I remember, it might have been Simon Sinek's book. I don't remember. Some book I read. They were talking about the difference between Apple and Microsoft. And what they were saying was, he was like, yeah, I went to a Microsoft meeting, and the whole meeting was focused on like, hey, look at those Apple guys. Look what you're doing. How do we beat those Apple guys?
Right.
And then I went to the Apple meeting, and they were like, hey, guys, how do we get better? How can we be better than we were last year?
I like that.
Like they were focused on themselves, so they weren't worried about the competition. They were like, we have everything we need here already. Like, let's just take what we need so we can go out and get more. And I think, man, you do have to compete. I believe in competition. I very much believe in this idea of competition. But at the same time, you have to realize that I think there's more than enough out there for everybody.
Right.
If everybody finds their lane, if everybody gets that clarity and can find the lane what they're supposed to be doing. If you know what you're supposed to be doing, your gifts, your treasures, they're out there waiting for you to come get them.
Yeah, totally right. And I read a book called Fast Lane Millionaire. And he talked about whenever you're focusing on the competition, you can't innovate. So the reason Apple, for example, they're innovators. That's what their brand is. They're innovation. They couldn't do that if they're focused on what Microsoft is doing. Yeah. They're trying to catch up at that point. And another thing in the context of me training for a marathon, when I'm out there running, say, White Rock, for example, you have people out there on bikes. You have people that are out there of all ages and physical abilities. I can't focus on what they're doing or what race they're running. I have to run my race because, for example, someone passes me and I'm running 10 miles that day. I can't think like, oh man, I got to catch up with them. They maybe only ran 2 miles. So just things like that where if you get distracted by what other people
2
are
miles,
doing.
Or that might be me, Pessy. I'm just running the 100 yards that day.
Right. So if you get distracted, think, oh man, I'm not doing that good because this person just passed me. Or it's just, you have to stay focused on your lane, your race. That's something that I think about all the time when I'm out there training.
No, it's real. I forgot who says it. Actually, I think a lot of people said it, but the definition of success is how are you doing compared to what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Not compared to what, it's not, hey, Dale, what Darius, you didn't get Darius' score. Well, I'm not supposed to be doing what you're doing. Right. I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. And
it goes back to what you said, writing it down. How do you know what you're supposed to be doing if you didn't write it down? Exactly. And you're not tracking it. It all ties together, certainly.
It definitely does. And man, all right, it's kind of funny, right? Because I'm trying to explain this idea of clarity, but I'm not clear in my explanation of clarity because I almost want to say clarity is almost a somewhat complex thing to explain, but it's really not.
It's complex to get there.
Complex to get there.
We have so many distractions and getting pulled in so many directions. It's a lot easier said than done, as far as clarity. But once you arrive there, you're like, oh, okay, it's crystal clear now.
Yeah, no. Once you know what you're supposed to be doing,
it's a process, though, certainly.
Like even in my life, like I spend a lot of my time now doing things like what we're doing right now, like trying to say how can we develop people. Mm-hmm. And that came from clarity. That took years for me to get there. I think part of the reason it took years for me to get there is because I wasn't intentional about it.
Right.
So that's something to understand about clarity then. To find clarity, you need to be intentional about finding clarity. And now that I'm so much more intentional about it, it feels natural. Mm-hmm. It feels very natural. I don't feel like I'm trying hard to do anything. I was telling my brother, I was speaking to my brother this morning on the phone. We're talking about my speaking engagements. I was like, honestly, I was like, a lot of times I go speak, I don't know what I'm going to say until like the night before. Right. Like I don't plan anything until the night before. If I'm going to do a PowerPoint, I just say, okay, let me find some pictures online, throw the slide together. Mm-hmm. Like some days I just show up and just talk, right? Yeah. And it's because that's my gift, right? I'm gifted in that area. So for me, it's very natural just to walk into place and boom, and just drop it and everybody gets like, oh, right?
You must have been preparing for months for this. Yeah. Yeah. But in reality, you've been preparing your whole life.
I was just about to say that. Yeah. I was just about to say that, man. And that's the thing that people don't get, And people walk in there and be like, man, like, how come I can't go in there and talk like that? Well, for 2 reasons. Number one is I'm gifted in that area. Mm-hmm. And I've known that for quite some time after.
We'll have our unique gifts.
Yeah, we'll have our unique gifts, right? Some gifts in that area. And the second thing is, like I said, I prepare for it all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's not just like, oh, gifted, I'm good, right? Because what they say, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Mm-hmm. So I know I'm gifted in that area, so I work on it, This morning, just getting ready this morning, I was, shaving and stuff. I'm in the mirror kind of talking to myself and just rehearsing stuff. It's just like natural all the time practice now.
Right.
And when you practice your gifts, that helps you arrive at that clarity. Mm-hmm. Because then you start to see your strength in whatever it is you're doing. Like, man, I really am good at this. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to be doing this.
Yep. It feels natural. It just flows. That's the thing too about being a speaker. People look at, oh man, you get paid for a certain amount of money to be on stage for however how long, say 45-minute keynote. They get paid so much. But in reality, once they know they have that speaking event, they're thinking about it nonstop. Yeah. Okay, what am I going to talk to them about? What's going to resonate? What do they need to hear? Mm-hmm. That could be months out. They're just thinking about it, not to mention all of their life experience that they're going to bring to that talk. And it's a lot goes into it that people don't see in preparation.
Yeah, I mean, when you get paid as a speaker, it's all that preparation, but anybody who understands, here's the deal, right? It's when I'm working with people, when they say how much does it cost up front, I know that person's probably not going to get it, right? Mm-hmm. Because people understand something. I do it too sometimes, right? But people understand stuff. They're always worried about how much does it cost? How much does it cost? How much does it cost? Mm-hmm. Where you should be worried about, hey, what's the value? Yeah. What is the value, right? So people who bring me in to speak, when I go speak places, nobody's asking me, nobody's worried about how much it costs.
They know you bringing that value.
Exactly.
Prices, yeah.
It's about the value, right? Mm-hmm. So, I'm not going to throw out the amount of various price dollars or whatever. But the money, it's a petty thing. That's a petty thing. It's about what is the value? Right. Because somebody knows, hey, he's going to bring enough value in here. And if you go on my website, on my speaking page, it uses the word transform. or transformative. He's going to, I'm here to transform your audience's mind.
Can't put a price on that.
You can't, right? I don't care what you pay me. It's not enough it's not enough to transform somebody's mind.
Right.
Like, I'll tell you, the feedback I got when I just spoke last weekend was amazing, and people's minds were changed. You see, people started using different words and all sorts of things, and it's because, like I said, it's been a lifelong thing, lifelong development, and now I'm reaching a point in my life where I have a lot greater clarity about it now. So now I can even deliver my messages a lot more effective, and the ability to do that is really transforming people's minds, transforming their mindsets, the way they think. And that's invaluable.
Yeah, totally agree.
Can't put a price on that stuff. So, to the listeners, when we're talking about clarity and such, I would say one of the first steps is going back, and we're going to talk about this all the time on this podcast because I think this is one of the most important things, but figuring out what is your gift? What are you gifted at? And once you can figure out what you're gifted at, really focus and hone in on, okay, how am I supposed to be using that gift?
Right.
And then start writing it down, right? Then get your journal and write everything you can about it. Because that's how you get clarity about your life and what you should be working on, what you should be doing.
I know that's something a lot of people struggle with, is identifying what their gifts are. And a couple ways to do that is, it's hard for us to identify our own because it's kind of like you can't see the picture if you're in the frame. So it's yourself. So you may downplay a lot of your gifts. But think about, what do people come to you and ask for help for? Or just ask the people that know you best. Ask them, hey, what are my unique gifts? What am I really good at? They know. And I think that's very helpful. That's something I did about a year ago. And getting that feedback, okay, I didn't realize that, but you're right. It makes sense now. So that's just some ways to identify, but it's super important to identify what your unique gifts are, because you don't want to spend too much time trying to model somebody else's unique gifts or trying to hold yourself to their standard, but you have your own unique gifts that once you get that clarity around them, those are what I call your superpowers.
Exactly. And here's the deal that people need to understand as well. Once you know your gifts and once you have clarity around it, your life becomes so much easier. So much easier. You don't get stressed as much.
You're not forcing it.
You're not forcing it. You're not forcing it. Right? You're not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole anymore. Right. It's like, how do I get this in there?
It must fit.
I'm working so hard. Like, no, stop working hard. You're not supposed to be doing that. So stop doing it.
Yeah, that's
right?
a good indication. Yeah, you're not supposed to be doing that.
You're not supposed to be doing it. And one thing I always tell people that I work with is, we talk about finding your weak areas and self-improvement and trying to get better at those weak areas. But at the same time, honestly, what I tell them is, I think it's more important you find your strong areas and work on those. Exactly. Yeah. Master those.
I can't remember what book I read, but they talked about how just we're trained that way in our school system. Yeah. So for example, bring your parents home your report card, you have all A's and say a C, and a C in maybe English or something like that. You have straight A's in math, everything else. Parents gonna focus on that C. Mm-hmm. How can we get you stronger in English? And in reality, if you get A's in science and math, really, it should be thinking, okay, what is it about that you love, and let's keep making that stronger and stronger versus
how do I get you an A++++.
Right. Instead of trying to really build on your weaknesses. And that's just our school system, I think, too. Certainly.
Yeah, it's tough because certainly you don't want your weak areas to be that bad. Mm-hmm. But I think I heard somebody say that the real saying is jack of all trades, master of one. Not master of none, but master of one. So you can be cool and everything, but then you should have that one thing where you're just like excelling, right? And I think that's what we should aim for. And again, once you figure what that is, your life becomes so much easier, like so much more relaxed and so much more fitting, and you get in this flow. I listened to this Oprah talking the other day, and talking about she can tell when her life's in flow, she's doing something like that, and your life just gets in flow. Like for me right now, my life is in a pretty good flow because I'm finally starting to, after years and trying to figure it out and doing this, doing that, figure out where I actually fit in. And like, hey, how do I use these? First of all, what are my gifts? Okay, I got them. Now, how do I get clarity around them so I know what I'm supposed to be doing with them? Right. And then once you get that, then everything starts to feel like I'm just on a nice little cruise on a river, just flowing, man.
What you said is so important is years of figuring it out. A lot of times people, they want instant flow. It doesn't work that way. You have to, it's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of failing, and that's part of the process. I heard recently somebody talked about going back to like focusing on your superpowers, your gifts. Mm-hmm. It's like, say if Michael Phelps, if his mom would have said, okay, now you master swimming as a kid. Let's get you just as good in basketball or soccer. So divert what he's doing, what he's a master at, to something else. And I think that happens often as well.
So that they get rich in your niche. Get rich in your niche, man.
Love it.
Yeah, I don't know. But what I hope people are getting out of this is you absolutely have to take the time to get clear about why you're here and what you're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. It makes your life easier. And I know people are going to hear this. Some people aren't going to believe it. Not going to want to do it.
It's true.
It's true. It's so true. If you take the time, you can have so much less stress. Again, I can't think of a better way to say it again than the trying to fit the square peg in a round hole.
Right.
Right. That's what most people are doing. That's what most people are living your life like. Mm-hmm. Right. And once you figure out, like, hold on, I'm not a square. I'm round.
Right.
Like, oh, that feels so much better now. Yeah. You know.
Like a fish trying to climb a tree.
Exactly.
Not happening.
You're supposed to be in the water. You ain't climbing no trees.
Be in the water. That is true. But I think as far as a culture, society, movement, people are focusing more on, trying to identify what they're passionate about, what they're good at. I think to like previous generations where it's just like get a job and work there for 40 years, play it safe. I think more people are more conscious about, what is going to make me happy? What can I do to find that flow? I'm seeing more of that than previous these decades, as long as I've been alive.
Yeah, and of course it's tough, right? Because you can't just go out there and just expect your gift's not going to necessarily just make you money immediately, like you were saying. It's going to take time. So of course it's tough. You got to say, well, I got to go get a job and do some other stuff, and it doesn't give me the time to work on my gift. But I don't know if you saw, I put this post up before. I was like, well, they said there's no such thing as an overnight success. I beg to differ. Overnight success are people who are working on that 9-to-5 shift. So, and not really, I don't want you working the whole night, of course, but you go to work.
Oh yeah, I remember you posted.
I said, I mean 5 to 9 shifts. I said it backwards. But you go to work and then you do your regular day job. You work from 8 to 5, whatever. Go home, do what you have to do with the family. But at nighttime, man, you have to. I don't want to say sacrifice. You have to start honing your gift.
Yes.
In your off hours.
Put it in work. You're saying 24 hours. That's a lot of time. Yeah. You sleep on average at 8 hours max. And they say you got 8 hours work. That's still 8 hours left of family time and all the other things. Still give you some time to hone your gifts.
Yeah, you're not supposed to use that 8 hours to sit on the couch and do nothing, man.
Hone it. No excuses. Totally agree.
All right, but so let me think. In terms of other tips because we want to make sure we help you guys with how to develop that mental clarity. I think Darius has some great ideas at the beginning. I'm similar. Prayer, Bible,
meditation.
Yeah, meditation journaling. Stuff. Journaling, definitely. And become a studier of other people. So study people who are not just everybody, but study people who are doing kind of the things that you want to do, and watch how they operate. Because that's going to help you develop maybe a pattern. And I'm not saying copy them. I'm not saying try to emulate them completely. But just watch how they operate and do things. Like I said, I've been watching. The reason I started this podcast with Darius because I've been watching him, how he's posting stuff on social media for the past year, right? So I can tell how he operates. I can see his flow from the outside. I can see how things flow with him. So watch other people because that'll help you give you clarity also in terms of, hey, maybe my gifts could be used in this way, right? Maybe my gifts should be working in this way. And there are a lot of people. So it's like Dr. Dale and Darius are the first people who are trying to do podcasts and develop stuff, right?
Not at all.
There's tons of people. We're just, I'm just
adding our own flavor to it and bringing our own unique experiences.
That's exactly what it is, right? But we can still watch other people and get a sense as to what they're doing. I would say just no need to reinvent the wheel every time, right?
Exactly.
But be original without reinventing the wheel. Ooh, that's tough.
I like that.
I like that. Somebody got to write that down. Yeah. Be original without reinventing the wheel, man.
Don't need to start from scratch if you don't have to.
Yeah. And the idea of just studying people and watching them, and I guess really what I'm trying to say there is to being intentional. Yeah. Being intentional is what will help you get to that next level where you're trying to go. And that's what's going to help you develop that clarity ultimately. And once you have that clarity, life gets easy. And that's when you're going to start seeing yourself climbing these ladders and achieving stuff that you didn't know you were going to be able to achieve. Like, man, if you'd have told me, actually, I probably would have believed it. But it was never anything that I necessarily dreamed of going out and getting paid to speak. I never dreamt of that. Right. If you'd have told me it was going to happen, I would not. Okay, cool, I can see that. Mm-hmm. But I never set out to get paid to speak. It's just that I started doing stuff. People are like, hey, I want to pay you to come speak. Right. Okay, great. And all that comes from starting to get this clarity, starting to figure out, okay, mm-hmm. I'm kind of good at this speaking stuff, you know?
Right. And then what's your message? Is you spreading your message? You're like, I want you to come to this group or that group. We need to hear that. Exactly. Part of that clarity, you know what your message is, what your gifts are, and it's aligned, and it's flow. Flow.
Like you said all those things have to, the alignment is what I like to say. Everything has to align together because people are just disjointed. It's very easy to be disjointed and say, all right, let me pull this from over here, this from over here. And next you know, you're like dangling all over the place and trying to hold everything together like this. Right. Well, how do you bring everything into the center and make it like one core points where we have that focus, where everything ties into that one message, that one focus, and you're able to distribute that with your gift. I love that. So how do you take your message and use your gift to get it to? How do you take your message and use your gift to serve the world?
Yeah,
I love that.
Disseminated.
Taking your message, using your gift to serve the world.
Coming up with all kind of quotes on this one.
I know, man.
Good, hashtags.
I'm actually thinking about it, and as we're doing this clarity podcast, I'm actually thinking that might be what clarity actually is. Figuring out your message and how you use your gifts to serve others. That might really be the nutshell, the core of clarity.
That's pretty clear. Yeah. the formula.
Yeah, if you have all those things together, that's kind of like what you're looking for. Okay, what's my message? How do I use my gifts to help other people? Once you have that, that's what we're looking for. Bro. That's what I want my life to be.
That's what I want. So I strive for every day. Certainly, like it.
Yeah. We're probably running close on time here because I know I got a call here in 10 minutes with somebody. But so next week, I think it's a good idea to give you guys a preview. So next week we're gonna be talking about what did I talk about today? So today's Maximizing Monday was about intentional networking.
Oh yeah.
Going out and the challenge today actually was to make a friend. So next week we'll get into that.
Networking.
Yeah, talking about intentional networking. That's big.
Huge.
That's big.
Keyword intentional. That's a key theme. It's coming back around. Intentional.
Maybe we should have called this podcast intentionality or something. Intentionality. Anyway, so what you got planned for this week before we hop off here? Give people a little preview in terms of what we got coming up for the week.
What's going on?
And life in general.
This week, just more interviews for me, Mentor Select, and then also preparing next week. I'll be speaking for the prison entrepreneurship program there at each school. Nice. So these are men who went through the program in prison. Now they've been released, and they have to go through a 9-month program learning entrepreneurship skills. So I'll be teaching on the topic the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Covey, right?
Covey, yeah.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that. About 20 men from that program. Preparing for that now. And at the end of the month, I'll be...
That's big. So do you have a prison ministry? Do you do a lot of stuff with prison?
I just got involved with it this past about six months ago. Just got involved with that program. It's a nonprofit program. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I like it a lot. Giving back.
What's it about, man? What am I doing this week? So, well, it's always a grind, man. So you got to do it. It's always a grind. Outside of the hospital, doing all the hospital stuff, working on the books. So I'm really excited. Oh, we didn't put the books out today. But I'm really next time. I'm really excited. Second Dr. Doc book.
Okay. Just about the lungs, right?
Yeah, about the lungs, exactly. So it's Dr. Doc, Tony, Jace learning about the lungs. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited. So just finally put everything together. I sent it off to my illustrator and everybody to start putting all the pieces together, but just finished editing, writing, and all that stuff. So I'm really excited about that.
When is that one being released? Published?
So hopefully, my goal is to try to get them out once a month
Okay.
And the first one we put out at the very end of September. So this one will probably come out like very end of October, early November.
Okay.
And I got 5 that I want to do. So boom, 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 put them out. And I'm excited about that because that's probably one of the most gratifying projects that I've done, to know that we're putting something in kids' hands. Yeah. Right. So I've got that. Cool. Yeah, I'll be speaking to the school here a couple weeks. That's not this week, but that's in a couple weeks. And of course, doing all the grind stuff, getting Black men and white coats out to the community, rise up. Getting the coaching program going, all that stuff like that. So
no off days.
What is that?
It's Columbus Day. You supposed to be off chilling today, right?
I definitely wasn't chilling today, man. Definitely wasn't chilling today, man. I woke up and I worked harder today than I do on a regular day, man.
Let's think about it. Once you get in that flow and you find that clarity, you enjoy what you do. So,
I love that. Say that again.
Once you get into that flow, you find your clarity, your message, and how you align it with your unique gifts. You love what you do. You don't look forward to off days. Every day is an opportunity to continue spreading your message and sharing your unique gifts with the world.
I love it.
I think that's a good indication too. If you're looking forward to Fridays and Saturdays so you can just chill out, and nothing wrong with chilling, relaxing. Don't get me wrong, but if you just dread Monday through Friday, trying to fit that circle into that square peg, it's not gonna work. Mm-mm. You're not where you're supposed to be.
I tell you, I look forward to Fridays and Saturdays so I can use that day to work on stuff that I really love doing.
Right. Yeah. Undivided attention, just focused on it.
Like today, man, I was like, man, I'm off on Monday, Columbus Day. Ooh, I get to work the whole day on Rise Up. What?
That's excitement you want when you find your clarity.
Like Christmas, man. I was so excited.
You get excited about work days.
Yeah, man, you should see my checklist, man. Everything's checked off. I was putting in work this morning.
Nice.
Yeah, but appreciate you guys listening.
Definitely.
Love you guys for listening. Handles. I'm at Dr. Dale MD on Twitter, and Dr. Dale, you got to spell it out, DoctorDalemD. On Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, even though I don't really use Instagram like I should. And websites are drdalemd.com, blackmenandwhitecoats.org, diversemedicine.com. Every pre-med and doctor, healthcare professional should be on diversemedicine.com. And diversemedicine.org is under construction. We're going to have that back up soon for our community outreach. What you got?
Nice. All my handles, Derrich, DERRICH, Phillips. Pretty easy to find. And then also just started my Facebook business page, Derrich Phillips. And on there, I'm doing live videos of my training for this ultra marathon. So just sharing with you whatever theme is on my mind after that training run. Just sharing that with you. So definitely follow that and continue to rise up.
Rise up. I'm going to have to go on that Facebook and I'm going to have to start copying your workouts on there, man. I appreciate it, bro. Rise up. Love you guys.
Pleasure.